guys, it's Sarah here. Look, today I'm just doing a little abstract piece. It's really tiny there. It's only 10 centimeters square in a deep edge canvas. I'm going to be doing a abstract swipe as a base. Actually, there's two swipes in the base just to get the coverage right. And then I am doing a abstract line drawing over the top. So just starting there, I've got some, I'm just creating a very basic little base on the bottom of there, just with some floetrol. And actually I have popped one drop of the silicone oil, you can see there, that deep edge canvas, into the mix. And that's just to create a really slippery base for this little canvas. And just mixed up in the background there, I have a couple of different paints. I have a mixture of some copper just on the right hand side there. Basically that's just a bottle of every single copper I had, all chucked in the same box, mixed up with some floetrol, a little bit of water, and I think there might actually be a drop of silicone in each one of those colours as well. I mix my paints relatively thick as a general rule. Rather than too runny, because I generally tend to like them at that little bit thicker, and I add a little bit of floetrol onto the canvas, so that does sort of tend to thin them out a little bit as well. And what I'm doing just there is I'm making sure I've got a really good coverage of the gold and some of the white. I think I put some white in there as well, just over the canvas, and you can see there the little sort of rippling effect from the floetrol and the that little bit of silicone. Now what I'm doing is I'm actually creating the base for the swipe itself. So that's a mixture of I think that's Jo Sonia's gold paint mixed up to that same recipe, sort of about 1 part paint to 3 parts floetrol, dash of water if needed, and that's that coppers. It's just a mixture of random coppers. Now that is white, just standard. It's just a very basic white mixed to that same recipe as well, and I'm just using that as the swipe for up the top, just making sure with a brush there that I've got that right to the edge. And today I'm swiping with just a piece of damp paper towel, so just normal kitchen paper, really soaked in water, and then I just sort of have dropped it onto the side of the that puppy pea pad there, just to get all the extra drippy little bits of water off, and just sit it in the paint, carefully pull it through. Don't do it too quickly, and don't speed off at the other side, otherwise it just doesn't look quite as good. And I am using the side of the paper towel just to dab on the sides of the canvas. Take your time, gently pat it down just to get some of the paint onto the side. It works really well actually doing that. You can drag it up as well, but sometimes you kind of lose, you lose the shape of it a little bit as well. And we're actually just going to let that dry, and I'm doing another little painting right now, and we come back to this one. So this is a couple of hours later. I've done my daily painting for the day, which is a little balloons one. I'll leave a link there. It'll be the next video I do, will be that one. And I just downloaded that. Oh, that's it there. So I've done that one. And we're back to this one. I downloaded the artwork image from Creative Fabrica. I'll leave a link down below. I have a commercial license to use that, so I am allowed to apply that onto my own artworks. I'll leave a link down below to say thank you to the artist for that. And my very dirty little baby food jars that I use for my mini paint pots. I find I change them more often if I just use that little bit of water, and it also means that I can sort of strain them out and not tip so much paint down the sink, which is not good for your plumbing Although because I use the Atelier interactive paints, it does tend to come off a little bit easier with water, so it's probably not quite as bad as, you know, regular house paint and things going down there. And I am just using normal artist grade, so it's Atelier interactive paints there, and I think I put just a tiny little bit of extra water on the brush just to make sure it's running a little bit. Sometimes I also use the Atelier mediums, which are really good as well. And I'll need a couple of coats for this. The other thing I was considering doing here was using a paint marker just to get the you know, the size of the strokes even, and it's something that I might consider doing for the next one, just to have a look to see how that turns out, you know, differently from drawing it on with a paintbrush, which not necessarily the item that's designed for this type of application. So maybe a paint marker would be an interesting thing to have a play with. I did buy some the other day. Actually, it wasn't really the other day, it was about 3 months ago. I just haven't used them yet, so for anything other than just messing about with. This did take, as I said, a couple of coats just to get that coverage the way that I wanted it to. This is the first time that I've tried a more modern, I guess you could say, embellishment over the top of a swipe piece. Most of the time I do something that's possibly a little bit more, I guess, traditional. I'm not sure what you want to call it, like, so a dancer or you know, silhouette of a dancer sort of a thing over the top of over these. So it's the first time trying something a little bit different like this. Not everyone has a great big space in order to display their art, so I thought a little piece like this, particularly done with a deep edge canvas, you know, you could sit it on a, you know, a desk or something like that. Pop it in a, you know, a shelf or something at work as well, rather than, you know, you don't always have a huge wall space to hang a nice big piece of modern art. Which I generally do tend to prefer the bigger pieces. They look just amazing. You know, things that are like 3 feet by 4 feet, they look awesome. But I've been doing a lot of work with daily paintings and things over the last few months. So my normal acrylic sort of paintings that I have been doing, just, you know, little daily paintings. So that little one with the, oh, there's my Atelier interactive gold. It's really quite pretty colour, this one. So that little balloons painting that I just showed you before, it's just a little, I think it was 40 minute study. Just throw some colours down, get something done every day. Just try and paint a little bit every day. It's amazing, you know, how you know, the idea that you just have to paint something, get it done, and you're not thinking about making it perfect. I can be, I might not look like it here, but I can be a little bit of a perfectionist when it comes to things. I don't like to say things are finished, because that means that that's my best effort. And if I'm not happy with that being my best effort, then I don't want to say it's finished, so I don't finish things. So having a, you know, that sort of little challenge just to do daily paintings and have to get them finished, and them only be taking, you know, sort of an hour or so to do or less, you know, it's really good for me. It's improving my skills, which was the whole point of it. Up until the last sort of 8 months or so, I haven't done any painting in years. It's been a very long time since I've done any artwork. Back before my first daughter was born, I did a lot of oil painting, big oil paints, you know, big wood panels, and fairly traditional kind of stuff. And I had a fantastic art teacher who was helping me go through all of those things. But kids didn't really work with big oil paintings and things. We just didn't have the space, we didn't have the time. And let's be fair, a lot of the I guess, equipment and things you can use with oil painting is quite toxic. And I had cadmium paints, and I had, you know, the fumes and things from a lot of those, and I was not very keen on exposing a little wee baby to those sorts of things. So I stopped for a very long time, and then restarted painting relatively recently, and it's taken quite some time to get my brushes back where I wanted them. And what I'm doing just here is I'm just adding a little bit of extra embellishment over the top of the this white piece, just to add a little bit more glitz. Some of the gold didn't quite come through as I wanted it to, so I'm just going back through and popping little bits over, just copying sort of the flow of what's actually there. You don't want to use too much paint, but you don't want to use too little either. Too little, it looks dribbly and not quite solid enough. But if you use too much in big globs, it looks obviously repainted back on over the top. I just wanted to add in a little bit of extra. Some of it I wanted to look like it was done in the swipe, and some of it I just wanted to, you know, add in some extra details. You can see there how the how using the paper towel actually turned out on the sides, and it you know, it works really quite well. Don't mind that look at all. I was working in quite a small area there, and I couldn't actually see the sides of the canvas with the camera very well, and you can see there on that left hand side, perhaps I should have put a little bit of extra paint in through there. Kind of missed it just a little bit. Not really something that you're really going to see perhaps, but I just wanted to put some extra color through. And you can see, I think that might have been the last side that I did, and you can see that I swiped it up a little bit as well as not just pressing it on. And because it was the last one, the color was a little bit more pale, so it's just something to consider. Generally, you know, a bigger piece I've done more swipes, so getting 4, you know, separate pieces is not so much of a problem, and I can use a different piece of swipe paper for each side, but I didn't really have that option here. So here I'm just changing over to the Atelier copper. It's a really pretty color, this. It's quite a rich copper, and I really like it. It's quite thick too, so. Whereas the Jo Sonja paints are a little bit thinner, the Atelier paints tend to run that a little bit thicker. I wasn't 100% sure what I was going to do here, whether, you know, I should get some white paint and put in the eyeball, or maybe even just one tiny little bit of bright red or something. I didn't do that, but I considered the option. We'll go with that. We're nearly done here. It's just a really quick little piece. It's nice to be able to work with the you know, the small canvases for a workspace arrangement, and also you know, they don't take quite as long to do, particularly with the daily paintings. You know, if you're daily painting over, you know, a really big canvas, there's just a lot more paint you've got to get on, whereas if you're working in a smaller area, you can get more detail put in for the time that you are using. I guess with swipes though, it's not quite, it's more the setup and clean up and everything that's the problem, rather than the actual painting itself. I did put some white in there. There we go. Anyway, so thanks for watching. I'm going to be doing a few more of these, maybe series, and, you know, try a few things that are a little bit different with the sort of abstract embellishment over the top of some acrylic pours. I might try using the paint pens as well, and see where we go from that. So it'd be amazing if you guys would you know, like, subscribe, and if you guys have art channels and things like that as well. I love, you know, chatting with other artists and sharing ideas, and, you know, pop over to your channel and see what you're doing, and it's just a lot of fun. Sorry if you can hear all that thunder in the background. I'm not sure if it's actually picking up on here. We've had some really terrible storms here in good old Brisbane over the last couple of days. They've been fairly hideous. hail the size of golf balls, the usual. Yeah, it's just Australia. Everything here's big and nasty. Anyway, and that's it. So again, thanks for watching. That's the little piece finished. And that's just my little workstation that I have been working at. And the pieces that I have done, actually I didn't do the house one recently. That was about 3 weeks ago or so. And there's the 3 that I have finished off over the day. So thanks for watching.